this week. For all of you watching on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it if you can. Drop your comments down below. We love interacting with anyone that's watching or listening, sharing your views and getting involved in the show. For those listening on any of the audio platforms, Spotify, Apple, please follow, give us a 5-star review if you can. Every little bit is appreciated. So yeah, try and get involved on the audio side as well. So let's talk about our horror show at Brentford. So Brentford won, United won. What a disgraceful game.
They were so much better than you. They were so much better than you.
I think for the first 15, 20 minutes, there was not much going on in the game, right? Like, we had more of the ball, but it was kind of just like both teams feeling each other out. As soon as Brentford started turning it on and wanting to give it a go, it was just all Brentford. And we were at 6s and 7s just trying to keep up with them, really. Tony hits the post, should really score. There's a lot of chat about Tony being really clinical and being, a striker that's going to get a big move. I think he had a good game performance-wise, but he did not do great in front of goal, which I think for a striker, you want them to tuck it away, and I think you should score that one. But lucky for us, it's the inside of the post but goes out, so we get lucky with that. I think Jorgensen got a header that clipped the bar as well, and it was outside of the bar, so it wasn't really ever going to go in. But that contributed to them kind of pummeling us. Second half really carries on the same kind of stuff, to be honest. We still didn't really show too much fight. They're still they went so route one as well. And they could sense
they just smashed the ball up to
problems. Yeah.
They just smashed the ball up to Tony. He was just dropping it down. He has an unbelievable touch for such a big guy as well. Because I don't know how he was bringing some of them balls down, but yeah. And Buemo ends up hitting the bar as well for a beautiful volley kind of thing as well.
Yeah, but that was from the goalie as well. That's from a Flecken goal kick. Don't know why we let it drop. It bounces, goes over our defenders. I think there's two of them there. Tony and Buemo waiting to strike it. Buemo hits it, crashes the bar. But yeah, overall, Brentford were absolutely dominating us and playing really well. I mean, it's always not really the most attractive football. They do play a bit Bolton-esque, but it was working really well for them.
I enjoyed it,
it works against us. They've done it pretty much every single time they play us, and it works really well. But I don't know how this happened, but I could kind of feel it that we still might have an opportunity here or there. Bring on Mount for Rashford, who is, again, not fantastic. And he comes on and he scores a great finish, to be fair, right? Like, he tucks it away really well in the bottom left-hand corner where kind of Flecken has still got it covered, but he puts it right into the side net, and it's a great finish.
It's very shoddy defending in that. It's very shoddy defending in the run-up to that goal, though, man.
It bounces around. It bounces around a bit. This game was not a spectacle either. I've got to preface this again. Even though Brentford kind of dominated it, it was not amazing play. It wasn't like amazing passages of play, passing, moving. It was a lot of long balls, knockdowns, duels, ricochets, all that kind of stuff. And to be fair to them, they were up for it. So they were winning the duels. They were getting onto the second balls. The deflections were landing to them for the most part. And for our goal, though, was the one time where I feel like it kind of, a couple of ricochets. Antony plays a ball, hits one of their players, bounces up, still goes to McTominay. Then he's in another duel. Hoyland, it just bounces around. And we somehow managed to get the ball.
No, but it ends up getting to Casemiro and no one followed him. Like, he literally runs from deep and he's like part of this ping pong kind of pinball-esque. People falling over. Like, there's about 4 Brentford defenders on the floor by the end of by the time it gets to Mount, and it just absolutely stank defensively. But as you say, it wasn't really a great defensive performance from either side, really. And it was a great finish from Mount. To be fair, for the fact that he's going to be so rusty, and the fact he hasn't played that many games, it was a very, very good finish.
Yeah, he tucked it away, and obviously I'm in the group chat saying quoting Skepta lyrics and all that kind of stuff.
Hold that.
Thinking that there was shut down lyrics as well that were not repeatable on this podcast. And then we think we've nicked it. We did not deserve it, but I was actually still bricking it because I knew that every single time they put a long ball up, a knockdown could create some bedlam. And I have to also say, I'm not going to be too harsh on him because he's just come back from injury, but Lisandro Martinez did not look good in that game. There was one moment where he kicked it against Harry Maguire's head when he had the whole pitch to play it into. He decided to kick it back towards Harry Maguire and hit his head, which they had a chance from. And he just looked completely bamboozled. Like he had this thing on his nose, so I don't know if he's had a ball to the face or an elbow to the face, and he might be part concussed or something. But he had an all-time stinker when he came on. So I think they play.
Tony absolutely done him.
Yeah, is it Godos? I think Godos just casually strokes a ball back in off kind of a clearance. I thought Tony was offside at the beginning, but then it's actually just great play. He curls his run back in, gets the ball, beautiful touch as you said earlier, a couple of shimmies, gets away from Martinez way too easily, slides a beautiful cutback, and Christopher Ayer, whatever his name is, that massive man-mountain Norwegian don that they have in defence, is there and tucks it away. And I'm just cursing in the living room. But they deserved it 100%. I don't normally agree with Thomas Frank's post matches against us. He normally chats absolute breeze, but this time he was fair. They definitely deserve something. You could argue they deserve to win for sure. And so, no hard feelings. It's very annoying that we score in the 95th minute or whatever it was, with only a few minutes to see the game out. But this is what I said last week, and I've said for probably on repeat for the last 6 months. We cannot be trusted. We cannot be trusted. We cannot be, bet on to hold out leads. Even if you have 10 seconds left of a game, I still have horrible feelings that the opposition can pull one back or even win it. We just cannot be trusted completely with leads, whether it's 1 goal leads, 2 goal leads. We somehow find a way to conspire against ourselves to give it up. And that would have been such a sweet smash and grab as well. We desperately needed it in this Champions League race. And but for football's sake, I think it was probably a better thing that Brentford got a point. But it's a tough one to take. There are a couple of players who I do think deserve shout-outs, though, that did play well. I think the majority of our team was poor. Obviously, Mount comes on and scores that goal, so it was a decent cameo for him. Hopefully, he can come and play a few more minutes. I think he looked generally much brighter than anything Rashford was doing on the left-hand side. So hopefully he gets a run out and he gets some more minutes. But I think Onana was really good in this game. That double save he made was really, really good. Down to his right. And then he got up really quickly and made the second save, which was kind of De Gea-esque. The whole thing looked very De Gea-like. It didn't look very Onana-like. Even the save style looked kind of De Gea-like. He got down really quickly with the first stop, and then the second one with the leg is very much what De Gea used to do. Alexis Sanchez-esque, if you remember that Arsenal game where he made a really good save, jumped up and made the second save really well. So I felt like it was a bit harsh on him for him to not get the clean sheet. For once, I think he really deserved it. So that's just how football goes. I think Delot was good again. He was pretty much the only one who looked like he knew how to play football in that first 70, 80 minutes of that game. So I feel like he deserves a shout out. But we did have some stinkers. I thought Rashford wasn't great. I think our centre-backs looked very, very ropey. I don't blame them, right? I think we subbed both of them, didn't we? Subbed Varane and Lindelof off, who are starting centre-backs, and we ended with Martinez and Maguire. I understand completely why we brought on Slabhead, because we needed someone in there to try and, deal with some of the long balls, but even he couldn't do it for both defenders. And I think we struggled in that area throughout. So, yeah, performance-wise, not good. Really worrying. We've got Chelsea away and Liverpool at home in the next 5 or 6 days. So not the greatest time to play those teams, considering how poorly we're playing. But yeah, I think it was terrible performance. And a lot of people are, making reference to the 31 shots faced, 84 touches in our box by Brentford. But, we've beat this horse to a pulp, like dead horse to a pulp, to be honest. We keep talking about this is an intentional style. It doesn't look good. I don't like it. It makes my heart, rate go through the roof, because we know we're going to face loads of shots and there's always a big gap in midfield. It doesn't make sense. It's not a sustainable style of play, but that's clearly what Ten Hag is. he's worked it out that a lot of our defenders are better off blocking and are not good playing a high line. And he's worked out that our attacking unit are better off trying to, press the ball high and try and get the ball quickly and get quick turnovers to try and score goals. I don't agree with the style of play, but we're going to have these numbers. We're going to face a lot of shots. Like, not a lot of them. Again, not a lot of them were super, super dangerous. A lot of them were still long ranges. A lot of them were blocked. A lot of them kind of, I know there were 3 or 4 that hit the bar, which are more than normal. But it's just, it is what it is. So I'm not really going to lose my shit about those stats, because I'm expecting to have, not maybe this bad, but I'm expecting to face, a high number of shots, to have a high number of opposition touches in our box. But yeah, it's not a good sign. I don't think it's what we want to do long term, right? So I would say Champions League dreams are over. They might have been over already for a couple of weeks, but they definitely now are over. We're 8 points behind Tottenham. I think we're 11 points behind, or 10 points or 9 points behind Aston Villa. I don't normally always agree with Big Ange and his loving, but he made a decent point when the reporters asked him, "Are you worried about United chasing you down?" And he's like, would you ask that question of Man City? Because we're only 8 points behind Man City, so would you put us in the title race on that logic? Which is fair. Like, 8 points, we're a long way behind. There's 9 games left. I would say we're long shot at best. If not, we're more worried about the people behind us than catching Spurs and Villa at this point. We've completely thrown it away with the Fulham loss and this draw. I think you can say it's over for us. But yeah, John, do you have anything to add? I think I've wrapped up how bad we were, but you might want to stick the knife in as well. What do you think?
No, I just want to give credit to Brentford, because I think they were really good. And as much as that style of play is not in or trendy today, it works. And I mean, if they do play like Bolton, I enjoyed watching Bolton. Right, Bolton weren't the worst team to watch Arsenal, at all times, right? Yeah, not when they played us, of course, because that was our kryptonite. But I think generally speaking, it was Thomas Frank. I've said it before when we played them like a couple of weeks ago, maybe. I said that he knows what he's doing to set up against teams. And as much as you say your tactical model right now is to just defend deep and then press high from your attackers, I think he got the game plan perfectly right. And if it would just, a couple millimeters either way, and they beat you convincingly. And so I think they were good value. I think they deserved a win. And I think outside of that Mount chance, you didn't have any really clear-cut chances that would make me say that Brentford
nothing.
Yeah, Brentford deserved to draw or anything like that. But no, just generally speaking, I think it was a really good performance from Brentford. You guys, I don't know if you were terrible as much as you kind of just let them play exactly how they wanted to play. And it didn't seem like you had like a tactical response to how they were setting up. And despite all the changes made, it seemed to just continue, right? None of your changes really had a massive impact on the defensive end to really change the way that Brentford were playing against you. Obviously, bringing Mount on was great, because if I think back to myself, like, would Rashford have put that away? So it's a toss-up, really. And people forget that Mount is a good finisher. When he was at Chelsea, he scored a lot of goals, right? For that kind of position, he's a good finisher. He scores a lot of goals. So I think from that point of view, like, it was a good substitution to get him on and to get him in that position to score, because it was a very, very good finish. And then, I think from there, really, you guys should feel not hard done by, but you should feel a little bit disappointed, because how you score in the 96th minute, how do you not just set everyone behind the ball and say, you know what, we're going to smash and grab this and leave? And the fact that, like, I'm not going to go too hard on Lissandro. I don't think it was entirely his fault, but like, how do you, off of a corner, someone heads it out, they get it back to Godos, whoever it is, and he curls one, which was a really stupid ball to play, in my opinion, because he put so much spin on the ball. I thought by the time it got to Tony, I was thinking, there's no way you're going to be able to control that, all right? Like, you're going to shin that, and it's going to go out for a goal kick. And he somehow manages to get it down, like, does a little shimmy, stops, and then keeps going again. And Lissandro Martinez just looks like he doesn't know what he's doing. And it was an unbelievable kind of setup from Tony. So from that point of view, I'm kind of shocked that you guys wouldn't just see the game out. But at the end of the day, like if we're talking about like karma, I think the Brentford definitely deserved at least a point from that game. I think from the Champions League perspective, I mean, I'm looking at the table now. You're 11 points off of Aston Villa, but you've got a game in hand, so you can get that down obviously to about 8. Tottenham have, I think they're 3 points off of Aston Villa with the game in hand as well. So it could end up being Aston Villa and Tottenham both on 59, and you guys on 51 with all kind of equal games.
So we're 8 off. So if we win our game in hand,
so you're 8 off. Exactly. I mean, if Tottenham lose their game in hand as well, then you could be less than that off. So, but it's a big ask, and I think, of course, Man United still have the what I'm going to call the clutch gene. Just the fact that you scored in the 96th minute when you were playing so badly, you still have that clutch gene in you. So I wouldn't be like shocked if you managed to make it close, right? And it came down to maybe the last game of the season, and you guys were like right on Tottenham and Aston Villa's asses. But I just think it might be a little bit too much. And I think of the two teams, your best bet is to try and catch Tottenham, because I think Unai, as a manager, has too much experience to let this kind of slip from here. I think there's a chance that Big Angie, as I used to call him, could let this slip. He hasn't been in this kind of position before. It's his first time in this league. I know that he's obviously managed well in other leagues too, but I'm not sure if he has the pedigree to ward off a chasing Man United, which is, despite being terrible right now, it's still a big ask. Man United are still Man United. Old Trafford is still Old Trafford. And there is something in the water around you guys, even if you're playing terribly, that you will somehow get something. So I still think there's a chance that you could catch Tottenham, especially because of the fact that Tottenham have so many hard games from now on. They've got Liverpool, Arsenal, and City. It's a tough one.
Yeah. I think it's not 0%, but it's low. It's very, very low. So I think I would agree with you. It's not impossible for us to cut the deficit down to a respectable distance and maybe make it, a bit nail biting in the last game or two. But it's going to be reminiscent of Liverpool last season, I reckon. At best case, we can cut it down and make them a little bit shaky, but I don't think realistically it's possible. It would take a monumental collapse from both of them for us to get top 4. And even 5th place, it would take a collapse from one of them, which is possible with Spurs because of their fixtures. But they're playing all right, man, and they're getting late goals. They're just about sneaking it out. So I still don't think we're anywhere near consistent. People are forgetting the games that we've got. We've still got to go to Chelsea this week. We've still got to play Liverpool at home. We've still got to play you at home. It ain't easy. We've still got a lot more points to drop. So. I think our season's just going to peter out and we're going to finish 6th. I think the only hope we've got again is FA Cup, and again, repeat what I just said about 20 seconds ago. It's not going to be straightforward. So let's wrap up this Dower Fest and move on to the preview section.